Welcome to BPTV. I'm your host, Andy Amrine, and this is Around Town with Andy Amrine. And today we're at the Shim Complex, more importantly, the Shim Garden Project. This is the garden where they are making the garden to produce the food for the pantry. So they're still going through the construction, making the food pantry bigger, better, larger, but the garden is going to be drastically larger. So I'm anxious to show you what's going on, how it's going on, and how they're planning this amazing new first-class, world-class garden here in Bethel Park. With this amazing garden project today here at Shim in Bethel Park, none of this is possible without Becky. I know you don't like being in front of the camera, I understand that, but your guidance, your teaching, your gardening skills, this whole project is your idea. I mean, tell us about why we're here today and tell us about your garden and the importance of this garden.
Okay, Andy, but you're a big part of this, so
It's a team
I'm
effort.
going to give you credit.
Well, thank you. Not necessary, but you're the leader.
Okay. So this garden here started in 2012. It was a prototype. We'll see if it's going to work, and we had great success. It was a 60 by 80 plot. We managed to grow 2,000 pounds of produce that year.
Wow.
Local congregations and a couple schools found out about the program, reached out to Shim to have us assist with implementation of their gardens, and that began our community gardens program that supports our food pantries. In our best year, we collectively grew 15,000 pounds of produce that goes directly to our food pantries, and
it's an amazing number.
it is.
That really is. That's
and when you put it into tons,
amazing amount of food.
it is
Healthy food.
healthy food. It's not the some of the staples that you have to have, but a lot of the food that we have on our pantry shelves are shelf-stable foods that have a lot of calories, a lot of sodium, all the bad stuff. So this, in the summertime, we're able to provide fresh alternatives to all of that.
So how many Shim gardens are there currently?
We now have 13 gardens
Wow.
that grow for us, and this garden here is being rebuilt because we just had a huge construction project and we had to remove the original garden that started the program 12 years ago. So we're here with an amazing group of volunteers and community partners rebuilding, and it's going to be better than ever.
Yeah. So big difference between the old garden and the new garden. You're going everything to raised bed instead of ground level gardens.
Yes.
Okay.
And
why the switch?
so part of the reason for that is a lot of our volunteers are of an older age and find it hard to kneel and stand back up, or it's
Sure.
easier to garden in a higher bed.
Okay.
The galvanized raised beds last longer.
Forever.
It should last forever.
You're not using
And-
lumber that is going to deteriorate and rot, or womanized lumber that has chemicals in it.
And it's easier to control your growing medium because you're filling it with soil and amendments that you know where they've come from.
So what are you going to be growing this year?
We will grow your typical zucchini, beans, tomatoes, all the common vegetables that everyone knows, and we also grow a lot of things that a lot of our immigrant families are interested in.
Oh, good.
Bitter gourd, bottle gourd, lots of hot peppers. The hotter, the better.
You a hot pepper fan?
No,
No?
no. I like hot peppers, but their hot peppers are off
Off
the
the
charts.
charts?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you grow them, you just don't necessarily
No,
eat those.
no. You have to actually wear gloves to harvest them.
Wow.
They're otherwise you touch yourself and
Wow.
yeah.
So what's your background? What's your love of gardening? Where's that come from?
So my love of gardening, my interest in gardening, I would say started with my family.
Okay.
My parents. My grandparents always had a garden. My dad always had a garden. I probably was not as involved as I should have been at that point in life, but I had a respect for it because a lot of our produce came from their garden.
Right?
My love of gardening really started when my kids were small and they were outside all the time, and I needed to find something to do after playing in the sandbox for 3 hours. I could work alongside them in the garden and they could be in the sandbox. And then eventually they started helping, and so it just kind of evolved into what it is today. And the Shim Garden I started as a volunteer because I was looking to fill some time in my life, and my love of gardening just kind of further evolved from there to this level, which is bigger than I ever thought it would be.
Okay, so you manage 13 producing gardens. Do you have a garden at home, or you have no time to garden at home?
I have no time to garden at
I
home.
knew you'd say that.
My mulch hasn't even been done yet.
Darn. Well,
June
you
9th.
still get to play in the dirt every day.
Yes.
Okay.
And I love it. And the community has been amazing.
Yeah.
Our volunteers are amazing. This garden would not work without the support of the community.
And we have some corporate support for this garden.
Yep.
We're doing things a little bit different with the hydroblock noodles instead of stones as the base.
Yep.
And instead of just straight dirt, we're using pit moss, another Pittsburgh-based organic soil company. Knowing that so much of what is being used is recycled, reused, that to me, that makes me
That's
feel good.
amazing.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that part.
Yes.
And I'm anxious to see if you have a record production
Yep.
year from this garden itself. Now,
Yep.
this is June 1st that we're planting this. What are your expectations are for harvest?
Now that we have soil in some of the beds, I have plants that are just
Ready to go in?
hanging out in my driveway right now,
Okay.
ready to go in. So on Tuesday, which is our regular work day here at Shim for the garden, we will be planting the beds that have already been filled.
Marvelous.
So probably harvesting in mid-July, depending.
So how many volunteers? I know there's 50 plus volunteers here today, but in your normal team of volunteers that do your 13 gardens, how many volunteers do you have?
Wow. Across all gardens, I would
Hundreds?
say there's probably 80 or 90.
Wow. Okay. It's a lot of managing right there.
So I do not manage directly
volunteers.
the volunteers. I am the liaison for the garden managers at each
Okay.
location. They manage their own volunteers. So they schedule their work days, they schedule their planting, they do all of the work independent of me. I'm a resource. We hold meetings twice a year to talk about what went well, what didn't go well. But they manage everything from the volunteer end on their own. And it's a great model.
How about a shout out to Grow Pittsburgh?
Grow Pittsburgh, who is funding the majority of this garden.
Right. Amazing organization.
They are,
They teach
great.
Pittsburgh how to grow their own food.
yes.
That's the way
And
I look at it.
we have worked with Grow Pittsburgh since the very first garden that we put in. They provided lots of supplies and guidance, and every year we've done some type of collaboration with them. So we're grateful to them for their support of everything.
Yes, thank you, Grow Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Along with that, we're thanking Hydroblock for the noodles. We're thanking Pit Moss for the soil, but I'm sure there's other corporations and so forth that are part of your 13 gardens that you might want to give a shout out to?
Well, Evie Hardware.
Well, thank you. I love gardening, and growing up, I'm one of 10 kids. You know, at an early age, as soon as I could walk, I was out there weeding, and then I got to pick some of the plants. And you know, my love of gardening started as early as when I could walk, also. So
That's awesome.
I love growing food, and no, I have no garden at home anymore. Kind of run out of time, don't
Yeah.
we?
Well, and you know, gardening is something so basic that I think a lot of people lose sight of where their food comes from, and it's something that can create self-sufficiency if you
Right.
know how to do it.
Sure. And I mean, people that always, well, I don't have a green thumb, I can't do it. That's not true.
No,
I mean, anyone can grow it.
anyone
You
can
know,
grow.
a little bit of knowledge, you know, God's help with the sun and the rain.
Yep.
You know, anyone can grow.
I agree.
Yeah.
But we are very grateful to all of our community partners. SHIM has multiple community partners that I couldn't even name them all, but
Okay.
without our community partners, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here in the garden or what SHIM does for our clients.
Yes.
It's a definite community effort.
Well, thank you for your time. Do we get an invite back maybe mid-June or the end of June, and again the end of July?
I would love that.
And we really want to follow the progress of the garden and show people just how successful your garden is
I would
here
love
for
that.
the food pantry.
Perfect.
Becky, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ed Greiser, Hydroblock. Thank you for being here at our SHIM Food Pantry garden that we're developing today, but the inventor of the Hydroblock noodles, the boards, you impressed with our garden to start?
I'm absolutely blown away. We are thrilled to be part of what a worthy project, and
Yeah.
boy, just a bunch of wonderful volunteers.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen this much energy since 2-year-olds at Christmas. This is amazing.
Well, that would be a good one. But the noodles that we're doing the bottom third of all these troughs, which are going to be the raised beds. This is what the food is going to be grown in. The bottom third is noodles. Then we have topsoil. Then we have pit moss and some organic compost mixed in with the pit moss. So what's the importance? What are these noodles going to do for us?
Well, this is the first time we've done a project of this scope, this scale inside this country, and it really is a perfect application to bring the three different mediums together. This will allow for drainage, proper drainage. It's much lighter on this, and we're not going to be creating stress on the surrounding container there. And then matching it up with pit moss, and then again the native soil. That'll bring everything together, and they should have a fantastic yield. Normally, if you would just be using our product, just as you described, you would go from seed to harvest in about 38 days. So you can expect that sort of result out of this.
Well, and that part of it is the noodles, 100% recycled plastic.
Everything
So
that is
very
in here,
sustainable
right?
to it.
It would all be on the way to the landfill if it weren't for what we're doing, because it's all plastic. We tested. We always make sure that we have a safe product when it leaves our building,
Right.
and that's what this is. But the other side of that is everything we take in is all plastic that's on its way to the landfill.
Right.
It's completely non-recyclable, has really no value. So this is a perfect use for that.
So instead of using heavy rocks or gravel or stone of any sort, which does have a lot of different chemicals to the stones, plus the weight of the stones, take these troughs and it bows them.
Right.
So this has zero weight to it, but it's amazing for the drainage. And on top of the drainage, it doesn't hurt the root growth. It actually enhances the root growth.
Right.
So the plants that are going to have the super deep roots are going to be thriving because of the noodles being used in the trough itself.
Exactly, and they won't be overwhelmed in water. They won't be subject to that root rot that you would otherwise see there. this is really a win-win-win. It's certainly a win for the group here, a bunch of great people.
Yep.
It's an environmental win because we're redirecting all of what would have been waste, and it's going to be a win for the yield, the output, what comes out of this.
Well, that's what we're all anxious to see, the output in a couple months. But, I have to thank you, Kathy, Hydroblocks, for the donation of the product to do this.
Well, you're welcome, but you met us halfway on that.
It is absolutely amazing what you're doing for the community, for Pittsburgh, for everybody. But the project financially wouldn't have been possible without your assistance.
We're happy to help.
So
great project and a worthy cause.
So I'll see you in a couple months when we're harvesting those peppers and
great
tomatoes and carrots and radishes and lettuce and everything else they're going to be growing.
Okay.
But thank you for sharing your day with us.
All right.
All right, Ashley, thank you for joining us at the Shim Food Pantry Garden today. We're using Hydroblock noodles, we're using dirt, we're using some organic matter, and of course my favorite, pit moss.
Of course.
Explain to our viewers what pit moss actually is.
Yeah, we're based in Ambridge, Pennsylvania, and we take recycled cardboard, newsprint, basically any cellulosic fiber waste, and we take that, sort it, and we turn it into substrates that make potting soils and animal beddings.
Okay, with that, as you can see in here, we put a bottom third was the Hydroblock noodles, then we put actual topsoil.
Yep.
Then the top third is going to be a combination of the pit moss and some organic matter.
Yep.
What is that going to do for our growing source, for whether these are peppers or tomatoes or carrots or radishes or whatever they're going to put into this trough itself?
Yeah, so the pit moss will hold water really well and provide much needed airspace for all the roots. So you won't have to water quite as much, especially when you have those tomatoes that love to feed. So it's really great matter to put in any type of raised bed or planter situation that you need to keep watered, and it's going to allow those roots to really thrive, and you'll have more tomatoes than you know what to do with.
Okay, well, we really appreciate, as far as part of this project, the generous donation that Pittmont made for us to do this planting. It helped financially to make this garden come to attrition. We got 42 tubs here. That's a lot of pit moss, and we got to thank Pit Moss for donating the product for this project.
Well, it's going to be producing a lot of food for the community, and that's what we're here to do.
Well, we're really looking forward to where this garden's going to be in about 2 months.
Yes.
We're going to have a nice picnic enjoying the fruits of our labor.
Absolutely. Can't wait for it.
As part of this project, this food pantry garden here at Shim in Bethel Park, this project would not be possible without the amazing volunteers that we have doing the back-breaking labor on it. So how about introducing yourself, your team, and tell us a little bit about your organization.
Sure, sounds good. Thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Shweta Chakradev and I am the chapter coordinator of a non-profit organization called Seva International USA. We have about 35 plus chapters all over the US, and we work with local community and local non-profit organization to make any difference, any positive impact in any way that we can do. We are primarily a humanitarian help nonprofit, but this year we are actually collaborating with AmeriCorps, and we are going to focus on environmental projects rest of this year. And we are already working with number of nonprofits in Pittsburgh area, and we are helping them. For example, right now we are doing a community garden, but we are helping them creating awareness about pollution, reducing waste, how they can recycle more things, how they can create a positive impact in their local environment that they're living in. I'm going to introduce my team members now.
Please do.
We have Mahesh Sane here. He helps with our gardening projects. we have Ajay Berambe here. He is one of our lead coordinators. So what we do is we give volunteering opportunities to our high school children in Pittsburgh area, and this is more of an sowing community entrepreneurship seeds in them in early ages. And we have Hasmukh Patel here. He is a joint coordinator and treasurer of our team here in Pittsburgh, and he's all do, like he's the person, he's the mastermind, so he can do it all. So this is a very fantastic team we have here, and we have a couple of other members who are not here, but thank you for asking me this
How
question.
many volunteers do you have here?
So we have about 50 plus volunteers who show up on any day, and then
Okay.
if we extend our network to call everybody in, we can bring up to 350 volunteers.
Now you have a lot of different age groups here.
We do.
What are their ages?
So our youngest volunteer was, I think, 5-year-old.
5? Okay.
Yeah, and our oldest is, I would say, 85 years old.
Wow. So
And
the
majority
youngest
of-
is using the heavy power tools, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me, how did you find out about this project? How is your networking that
Mm-hmm.
you knew that we had the need here in Bethel Park for this garden?
Yeah, we do. Ajay, do you want to talk about that? Yeah.
Please.
So as part of the community community involvement, so we've been working with SHIM for last few years. So one of our key members, Dr. Kiran Patil, he's on the board of SHIM, and he kind of introduced us to the SHIM organization. And as part of the partnership, we've been working with them. So last year we worked with one of the gardens, similar project in Whitehall. So this year, the opportunity was with this entire pantry. So a couple of weeks ago, we actually came in and we helped with the cleanup and painting of this pantry. And we've been planning this project. This is one of the bigger projects that we've done this year. This part of the AmeriCorps grant. And the goal was to get as many volunteers as possible. So today, I think we had about 52 volunteers that showed up from various ages. This is a good opportunity for us to connect with the community and giving it back to the community. Not only just like leadership for the Seva, but also all the high school kids, all the young adults who are actually forming their opinions or forming their bond with the community. And this is what gives them an opportunity to come and actually give it back to the community.
Well, you had mentioned that this year you wanted to actually concentrate on recycle, sustainability, use, reuse. This is probably the first garden that you've been a part of that we're using some plastic noodles made out of 100% recycled plastic, and also, which is a Pittsburgh company, and also along with that, the other Pittsburgh company, Pit Moss, which is all organic potting soil made out of newspaper and cardboard. What is your initial thoughts now that you've actually put a few of those planters together with these kind of products in it?
Right. First of all, when you told me how the invention happened and how the system is working, it is phenomenal. And it exactly hits that right spot, what we are talking about, sustainability and recycling and making a positive impact for our future generations to come in. Because I'm going to go, my kids are going to live here, right?
Right,
So,
absolutely.
So this is the land we are giving to them. And if it's a good land, if it's made of things that we are recycling, we are reducing waste, I think this serves the exact purpose that what we are working for. So thank you for introducing us to that.
So how do you feel knowing that this is the first garden like this anywhere in the world being done by your organization here in Bethel Park? How do you feel about that?
I feel honored and I'm grateful. I was talking to somebody. We all run in small circles, and I'm really glad that I bumped into all of you guys. And our organization is giving some effort. We are giving some input from our side to
Right.
help make this happen. So thank you very much. We are honored and we are thankful.
Well, we're hoping to see many more gardens like this, not just around Southwest Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh, but nationally and also internationally.
Fantastic.
Because it's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. If you need people to come and help you, call us. We are here for
It's
you.
a deal.
Thank you.
You made the mistake of giving me your number. I will not lose that number.
All right, let's do that. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste. Namaste.
An amazing afternoon here at the garden at Shim in Bethel Park. I hope you learned a lot about what Becky is doing, about the garden, about everything that's going on, and I can't wait to bring you back in a month, 2 months, 3 months just to see the process of this garden itself. But thank you for watching BPTV. I'm your host, Andy Amrine, and I'll see you around town soon.